Hi, and welcome to the Insurance AR webinar covering administrator setups. As usual, we'll begin with the agenda, welcome the administrator setups, and we'll have time for your questions. So these are the items we're going to cover. How you can set up threshold limits global or at an insurance level. Add collection line status or substatus. Set up insurance aging reports based either on date of service or last claim date. So the first two of these are for the collections manager, and the third one is primarily for the reports. So let's begin the training. So the first item we're going to look at is how you can add or how you can set up threshold limits, which is claims threshold limits for collections manager. So in the previous part, we looked at how you can have claims pulled to the or pushed into the collections manager after a particular threshold limit. So if you have set 30 days as a threshold limit for the insurance or global, the system will start pulling those claims into the collections manager after that threshold limit has been crossed. So where exactly is this limit set up? And what all threshold limit options are available? So we're going to look at that. There are two places that you can set threshold limit. One is at a global level, or another is at the insurance company level. Now, if you want to set a global threshold limit, you can go into the advanced setup and billing options. And under that, you can see there's a default claim response limit. This is set to 30 days in my demo system. So this is a global limit, which means that this threshold limit applies to every insurance company in the system. However, this threshold limit only would apply if an individual insurance company threshold limit has not been placed. Now, if there are any insurance companies that have an individual threshold limit that's already placed there, that limit will override this limit. Now, for any insurance companies that you have not set that individual threshold limit, it would use this global threshold limit. Now, let's look at where the individual threshold limit is set up. So this is a global threshold limit, which means it applies to every insurance company in the system where that individual limit is not set up for that insurance company. So we'll go to the place where the individual threshold limits are set up. So under setup, go to insurance and pull up an insurance company. And then we'll open that insurance. And you can see here for this insurance company, the claim response limit is set up as 20 days. So you can set individual threshold limits in this field. This will always override the global threshold limit for this insurance. So though the global limit is set to 30 days, but for this insurance, because we have set an individual threshold limit for this insurance company, this is what is going to override that global threshold limit. So claims for this insurance will start pushing into the collections manager after 20 days because you have a 20-day threshold limit set on this field. So that's both the individual and global threshold limit. Next on our item is how you can add collection status and substatuses. As we looked at adding of other statuses and substatuses or line status or line substatus, similar to that, you can also add collection status or substatus from the all lookups. So I'm going to just go to advanced setup, all lookups, and we can look for the collection status or substatus. I apologize. On the all lookups, you have the two tabs here, common lookups and billing lookups, and you want to click on the billing lookups tab and then look for collection status or substatus. So you have a collection status here. In my list, it's duplicated, but you can ignore the duplication. Mostly in your setups, you would not see this duplication. Even if you see it, you can just click on one. Both are, it's actually a mirror of the other. So here on the collection status, you can see that these are all the collection statuses that are added. The new status cannot be edited. It is already system defined, but the other statuses you can typically edit them. Now if you want to add a new status, you can hit the new lookup value on the top right hand side and then enter a new value for it, whatever the new status you need to add. You can enter the new value, the value description, and a code for it. Similar to just as we have added other statuses in other statuses or substatuses, similar to that, or just like we added the patient account type, line substatus, it's a similar method. We can just add and fill in these fields and hit update to have that collection status added. The same process is also for the substatus too. You can do the exact same method for adding substatus. So let's say if you want to add a collection status, which is claim in process, and I will add this status. And I'll hit the update to have that added. Now if you go into the collections manager screen, you would see that status is added, the collection status. If you look at collection status, there's the filter, and the claim in process is now available as a filter. And also if you're looking at claims and working claims, you can also see that you can classify the claim using the status, which is the claim in process status is what I added. You can classify it using that status. So just as we add the collection status, you also can add collection substatus, the same method. Hit the new lookup value, enter the value description and code, and hit update to have the new collection substatus added. The final item on the administrator setup for the insurance AR is regarding reports, how you want the reports to be generated, or the insurance AR reports to be generated. By default, all insurance AR reports are generated by date of service. But if you want that to be switched to based on last claim date, this is what you can do, or this is where you can set it up. Go under setup and practice. So once you're on the practice screen, on the top right hand side there's a set practice options. You click on that and that opens up into the practice options screen. Under the general tab, as you can see, there are various options here that you can set up. There is an option over here for insurance aging based on, and you can see it's selected as date of service, but if you wish to change it to last claim date, which is the other option, you can select last claim date and save that. So you can have the insurance AR report either based on last claim date or on date of service. And the default is date of service, but you can, if you want to switch it to last claim date, just come into this practice option screen and you can change it over here. Once you make the change, hit save to have that updated. So that's all in this part of the webinar. If there are any questions, please do type them into your questions section. Please type your questions into the webinar control panel.